Hi everybody. As you might already know, WSO2 has released the next major version of the API Manager, which is API Manager 3.0. So I thought of creating a series of videos explaining the features of this new release. So today I'm going to start the video series with the most basic feature, how to design a REST API. So I have this backend service of mine. So I'm going to use this as the backend of the API that I'm going to create. So first of all, I'm going to log in to the publisher portal. So you can give the default credentials here. If you're familiar with the previous versions of WSO2 API Manager, you can see the new version has a new modern UI. This is actually a single page app written with the React.js. Now let's create our API. So for that, I can click here. You can see there are a few options I can pick. So in this video, I'm going to go with the first option, design a new REST API. In the next videos, I'm planning to cover the rest of the options as well. So I'm going to go with this, and then I have to give a name for my API. I'm going to create a library API. Context is library. The version is 1.0. Here, as you can see, now the create button is active. That means I can create API even without giving the endpoint or without selecting the business plans. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to just create my API like this. I'm redirected to the overview page of my API. As you can see, now my API is in the created state. So before I publish the API, I have to do two mandatory things. The first one is I have to select an endpoint, which is not done yet. And then I have to select a set of business plans. That's also not done yet. Before doing that, let's have a look at the menus in my left hand side. So the second menu is design configurations. Here you can change the icon of your API. So it has a set of predefined icons. If you want, you can upload your own icon as well. So I'm going to do that. And you can provide a description for your API. You have these two visibility related configuration. The first one is related to the API visibility within the publisher portal, and the second one is related to the API visibility within the developer portal. So I will be explaining these two configurations in detail in a future video. So next you can provide tags so that API consumers can easily discover your API at the developer portal. Now I want to define a set of resources for my API. For that, I'm going to the resource tab. As you can see, my API already has a set of default resources, but I don't want them. So I'm going to delete those and add my own resources. So I want to add in resources for the path books with verbs get and post. So I'm going to select like this and add. So now you can see my resources are added and all resources were deleted. So I'm going to save the API. Now I have configured resources. Then I can configure an endpoint for my API. For that, I'm going to the endpoint section. Here, I can select any type of these endpoints. Since what I have is a REST endpoint, I'm going to go with the first option. I click add. Then I'm going to copy my backend URL. So here I can select what kind of endpoint that I want to configure, whether it's production or sandbox. For now, I'm going to configure a sandbox endpoint like this. And if you want to validate this URL, you can click this button. If it's valid, it will give you 200 OK. And if you want to configure advanced endpoint configurations, you can use this and configure it here. So now I'm going to save the endpoint into my API. Right. Now let's go back to the overview page. Now you can see the endpoint step is completed, but we still have to select a set of business plans. For that, I'm going to click this link and it will take you to the subscription tab. So here you can see a lot of business plans available. So I'm going to select a few and attach to my API. Then if we go to the overview page, you can see both requirements are completed and now the publish button is available. Now I can publish my API. So once the API is published, it becomes available in the developer portal. When I publish the API, the runtime artifact of this API is also deployed in the gateway as well. So if I click this link, I am redirected to the developer portal, and in the developer portal I can see my API. So with that, we come to the end of this video. So in this video, what we discussed was how to design a REST API using WSO2 API Manager. So in the next video, we'll meet with another feature. Until that, have a good time. Bye.